Today we're going to work on painting our final draft of our flower paintings. Last time you were in art, you were mixing up some intermediate colors or neighbor plus base colors. Today you're going to use all the colors that you explored and use them to color in your flower. When you use a neighbor on the color wheel and you use more than one, you're using an analogous color scheme. Analogous color schemes are colors that are right next to each other on the color wheel. To get started today, don't forget to use your trusty color wheel and make sure you're using those neighbor colors. I'm going to start in the center of my flower and I'm going to make sure my brush is clean and dry. Pick your base color, I'm using purple today, and then decide what you'd like to add. I'm going to make a shade for the center, so I added just a tiny dip of black. When you're mixing today, make sure you're mixing in an X shape. You are not supposed to mix in a circle. You could rip a hole in your paper. Once you get your color mixed, I like to outline the outside first and then go back and fill in the inside and smooth out my paint. That's a great shade. Clean off your brush, use your sponge, and then start working on your petals. When you work on your petals, take your base color first and then add a little bit of a neighbor color. You can decide what colors you want your petals to be. Use an X motion to mix your color. If you need to adjust with a little bit of other color. And then once you get a color you like, outline the outside of your petal, long strokes, and then smooth out the inside of your petal. Remember, long strokes help your paintings look nice and smooth and even. Once you get one petal done, then you can go ahead and continue around your flower. Remember to try to make sure that you fully mix your colors and make sure that you don't have a lot of water on your brush. If you're having a hard time mixing your color and spreading it out, add more paint to your paper to help you get an easier job of smoothing out your color. Try your best to make your colors match as you go around your flower. You don't have to do the same color on every petal, but I decided that I wanted to use red-violet all the way around my sunflower today. Sometimes you might find that you don't have to put more paint on your brush. You already have plenty on there to do your next petal. I have enough paint to paint this whole petal without adding anything else to my paintbrush. That way, you don't have too much paint on your brush because then you tend to get out of control and go outside the lines. If you need to turn your flower as you paint today, don't forget you can turn your paper, especially if it means helping you keep your hands clean. If you finish your middle flowers, then you can start to work on more of your outside flower petals. I'm going to make a different color for my outside petals. I'm choosing to make more of a blue-violet. First, I mix, then I outline and smooth out the outside. When you're painting, if you push hard, you'll get a fat line, but if you push light, you'll get a skinny line. If you have to go in between petals, it's important that you don't push hard with your paintbrush so you can get a skinny little line with your paintbrush. Go around the outside of your flower, trying to get those colors to match, smoothing out and trying to stay inside the lines. Remember, too much paint makes it hard to stay inside the lines. Once you're done with all of your petals, you can add some details. I'm going to clean off my brush really well, and I'm going to work with some white to add some texture in the center. I'm just bopping my brush on to make some different brush marks for the middle of my sunflower. Then I'm using some light lines with my paintbrush to show some texture on the petals. You could use white for this or a different color. I like white because it shows up really well. I'm going to put my paintbrush on my sponge, use two hands, and walk carefully to the drying rack. If your hands got messy, then you can go wash them in the sink. And if you're all done, you can free draw or read a book.